Hey, Rembo here, and welcome to my channel. I'll tell you what, this helmet that I have is a I think it's the RF 1400. It is very quiet, but when you do audio in it, it makes it sound like I'm in a tunnel. Anyway, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do a little motovlog. I haven't done one in a really long time. And not only have I not done one in a really long time, I don't even remember what number this is. So by the time I start to edit it, I will know which motovlog it is. A lot of stuff to talk about today. I'm going to take a little ride around South Florida. It's going to be in the low 80s today, typical for May, before we get into the really hot season. And I'm going to talk about my trip out to Texas, to the MotoGP, and all the people that I met, although I did have a specific video about that. This is going to be a motovlog, and while I'm riding, I'm probably going to talk a little bit about my riding style and some of the things that I think about when I'm in traffic. So let's get started. Let's crank this puppy up and see where it takes us. And that is the full exhaust you hear, so that sounds pretty good. So let's get moving. Now this light up here is an automatic ticket light. How do I know? Well, because I already got a ticket going through that with my car. The good part about that is you pay the ticket. It's basically goes to the registrant of the car. It has nothing to do with your driver's license. So yeah, it costs money, but it's no points on your license, and that is the good thing. I think I'll take it easy a little bit this morning. We'll go ahead and get started out on A1A, have a nice ride, a nice view along the ocean, and take it from there. This, of course, is the Ducati Multistrada V4 Pikes Peak. As everyone knows who's been here before, I put about 28,000 miles on my very first 2021 Ducati V4S, which I thought was a fantastic bike. It had the 19-inch front wheel. This, of course, has the typical 17-inch front and back, and a little bit, well, not a little bit, it's a lot more nimble, which is kind of hard to say because that V4S was very nimble bike. I know they're a taller bike, wider handlebars, good seating position, and it seemed to work out really well. Was actually even able to scrape the pegs with that bike and do some pretty gnarly riding, so it's quite amazing. So when they put this 17-inch wheel on here and the single-sided swing arm on this Pikes Peak, they really changed a lot. Yeah, all right. I hope this isn't my view for the next couple of miles. All right, so while I don't have a lot of wind noise, let's have a discussion about my trip. Now, last time I talked about being there in COTA, Circuit of the Americas, in outside of Austin, Texas. But I didn't really talk about the actual trip itself on this bike. And here's something that I found quite interesting. My concern before I left was that because of the handlebars being slightly narrower and a little bit lower, that I was going to be a little more uncomfortable, maybe be, you know, not as, maybe be more sore than I was when I was on the V4S. And it's not just the handlebars, it's the fact that the rear sets are a little bit higher and a little more rearward, which kind of puts you more in a forward-leaning position. And I almost just canceled the trip and just drove out there in my car, or I was even going to fly at one point because I was just concerned about that. But, you know, in usual Rembo fashion, I decided, you know, I need to suck it up. Mile round trip, you know, I did over 744 miles one day coming back. So the bike was surprisingly comfortable. Now, I did put the air hawk in. There's a short about that, and I did bring it up in my video when I talked about the trip. And the air hawk seat made, I think, a really big difference as far as my dupa, for you Polish people out there, for the people in England, my arse. So, made a big difference, and we are backed up because of bicyclists. Welcome to weekend in South Florida. All right, there's the ocean for those who want to see it. Oh, good, they're getting out of the way. Hopefully everybody's going in here to park. And this is the inlet. This is the Boynton Beach Inlet, right at the intersection of Manalapan, Florida and Ocean Ridge, Florida, but it serves the Boynton Beach area, so they call it the Boynton Beach Inlet, even though it's technically not in the city of Boynton Beach. And there's a boat going out right there. All right, Rebel, get moving here. There you go, PD. Now, this is a relatively boring ride. If you bring a cruiser up here, you're going to kind of be like, this is nice, especially if you want to come here in December, January, February, when wherever you're at, you know, it's the frozen tundra. When you come here, yes, you can ride year-round, but you have some pretty boring riding because everything is relatively flat. And if it's not flat, it's straight. So it's pretty much straight and flat. There are a few bends, there's a few twisties, but the twisties last about 2 to 3 turns at the most, and you really have to seek them out. It's not an easy thing. All right, so let's go back to the trip. So I was pretty darn comfortable. Surprisingly, more comfortable than I thought I was going to be. I mean, significantly more comfortable than I thought I was going to be. And now, was it a pain-free experience? There you go, little view for you. Yeah, absolutely not. It was not a pain-free experience in the least bit. I have neck and shoulder and back problems to begin with, so of course, where was I sore? In my neck and shoulders. My back was really fine. It just, my neck and shoulders were really sore between the shoulder blades, the base of my neck, and that's why I wear the AGC K6 helmet for long rides and most of my riding. I use this one because it's quiet for the vlogging. So, gas mileage. I'm going to make a video, I think, about the gas mileage for the Pikes Peak specifically. It really, honestly, is absolutely no different between that and the V4S. I should have held back here, then I could have hit this twisty a little bit harder. See, this sucks. Well, it's 2 curves, little S curve we have here, downhill S curve, but we'll hit it going back. So, if you're buying a Ducati and you're concerned about gas mileage, then you shouldn't be buying a Ducati. You can't buy a high-performance bike like this. You can't say, I want 170 horsepower, I want to be able to do 160 miles an hour on an adventure-style bike, but I gotta get good gas mileage. No, it's just not the same, and it's not going to work like that. So if you're concerned about gas mileage because of how long you want to ride, that's great. Go ahead and get a different bike. Now, they are coming out with the Rally that's going to give you more range, and I think that the range comes in handy. It really depends on what kind of riding you do. If you're going to do a lot of off-road where you're going to have long distances in between fueling stations, gas stations here in the US, petrol stations other places. But when I'm on the road, not on a trail, about every 2.5 hours, I want to get off this bike anyway. So about every 150 to 170 miles, I'm getting off this bike anyway. I want to get off, I want to stretch, I want to get something to drink, you know, take a pee. All those things that's what I want to do. And I don't want to be on a bike for 3.5 hours because I can. It's just not me. Listen, I did 744.4 miles in one day without a problem, you know, morning to night. And it was about, I think it was like 12 hours 11 or 12 hours of riding time. I don't remember exactly what it was. And, you know, why do I want something that has a lot more miles? So the bottom line is, if you want really good gas mileage, don't buy a Ducati Multistrada V4. Now, so you're saying, okay, well, what kind of mileage did you actually get? When I do stuff like this, I'll probably get 32, 34. I average about 32, but that's if I take long trips. During the long trip, there was a big variance in the mileage that I was getting. And the reason for the big variance has a lot to do with wind, and right there, that throttle hand right there. So here's what it comes down to. I averaged about 36 plus miles to the gallon on the trip, and that was with the cruise control set to 80 miles an hour. 80 miles an hour is what I had the cruise control set to, whatever that comes to in kilometers an hour, don't know, but that's pretty darn good for a bike this size, a bike this powerful, and that's me on it, plus 2 panniers, you know, the side-by-side bags on the back, and then a rear bag, which really weighed more than probably all of it, a big 30-liter bag on the back. So I think that's pretty good. There were times when I actually got well over 40 miles to the gallon, and there were times when I got 34 or 32. If I had a strong headwind and I was keeping it at 80 and then passing people at 90 to 100 miles an hour at, you know, maybe 1 or 2 mile clips, then it went down. But if I just kept it at 80 miles an hour, the overall average is actually more than 36 miles to the gallon. So that's about it. So back to the view here. Yeah, it's a beautiful view. You know, it's green, it's lush, there's palm trees, the water, but it's very boring riding. This area here is heavily patrolled because I got the ocean on that side, I got the intra-coastal on that side. So I'm out here on a barrier island, and they're trimming a palm tree. There you go. But this is what you're going to see on a Saturday morning. As you can see, it's about 8:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Relatively light traffic. If I come back out here around noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, hello, it's going to be packed up with a lot of traffic, and it's going to be just hot and unbearable. Right now it's a pretty cool breeze because it's 78 degrees. As long as I stay at 82 degrees, I'm feeling pretty cool and pretty comfortable riding. As soon as it gets up to like 87, 88 is when you just really want to keep moving. Now, I'm originally from the north, so, you know, I was used to riding in really cold weather, and, you know, when you shouldn't have been out, you were trying to go out anyway because you just wanted the season to begin, but I have been, in the last 11 years, tempered to this climate, so I have acclimated here. And in a way it kind of sucks, because if I do travel and I go somewhere cold, I get cold really quick because of how I've acclimated. All right, so let's talk about the stability of this bike. All right, this bike, the Multistrada V4 Pikes Peak, is very stable, extremely stable. Well, you know, you got the gyroscopic effect on it. The chain is on the right hand or on the left hand side. The bike does want to pull to the left regularly, but very stable bike. I mean, let's take a look at this. Oh, hey, look at here. This is for my 3 days at COTA for getting in and out of the Circuit of the Americas. So, very stable bike, but it's not so stable and heavy that if you try to do something stupid without touching the handlebars, kind of like I'm doing now, where you want to start adjusting your seat and stuff, this bike is going to go left or right because it is so nimble. Now, not everyone rides without, you know, touching the handlebars, and I'm doing it solely to make a point about the stability of the bike and how easy it is to kind of steer with your knees at slow speeds. Of course, the faster you go with the gyroscopic effect, you're not going to be doing much of anything, okay? But as far as this bike is concerned, as you can see, very stable at these low speeds, such as 38 miles per hour. Alright, if you're wondering why I'm slowing down here, is because I want these cars to clear, because there is a little bit of a twist here, although when we get to the top, the left-hander is a very blind corner, and there's been times when I come ripping through here and really had to stop very quickly. Again, this is part of the, what the hell? See what I'm saying? So there's another view for those who like a view like this. Let me go up. Oh, look at all that sargassum coming in. Sargassum. It's actually called sargassum. I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not, but there's this brownish reddish tint coming into the beach, and that is from the Sea of Sargassum. And the Sea of Sargassum has been really, it's been pretty heavy the last few years, where we've had an exorbitant amount of, people just call it seaweed, you know, coming in and cluttering up the beach. It's important for the sea turtles, for those who are interested. Now I'm going to start sounding like Itchy Boots, giving you a little history lesson here. But the sea turtles, when the babies hatch, the hatchlings come out and they head out to the ocean, they rely on that sargassum to kind of attach themselves to protect themselves. You can see what the beach, maybe you can see what the beach looks like. There we go. See how the beach is? That's all that sargassum there. Pretty crazy, isn't it? And that's pretty heavy, but I've seen it worse. So the sea turtles attach themselves to it as it floats back out, because eventually all this leaves, and they live off of that until they get bigger and older, so that they can finally get out on their own. There's not a really good mortality rate for sea turtles. Oh shit, let me slow down. Let me have my fun. No fun. So now I'm in Palm Beach. Palm Beach is a pretty famous place. I think everyone knows about where it's at, on the east coast of Florida. On the left and right are all homes that are just completely unaffordable to 99.999% of the world. We're talking crazy prices: $17, $20 million, $35 million, $40 million. We're talking crazy numbers. The people over there live on the intracoastal, have a boat. The people on the right live on the ocean. And ocean property is prime real estate. As you can see, they really take care of their hedges here. I almost call this like hedgerow, because it's just a whole bunch of landscaped hedges and walls, and the houses are set far back. And anyway, it's just a place that I'm riding through. So let's go ahead and let me get on the highway and talk a little bit about highway riding as I head back. And I'm going to make a left right here. Okay, there's a truck there with his blinker on, so I slowed down and stayed further to the right so he had an angle to see me, because I could have been right like this and this car would have hidden me from that pickup truck. All right, even though I'm taller than that one. Woohoo! So this is about a little bit about my riding style. I'm an aggressive rider as far as speed and getting around people in certain situations, but I'm also extremely defensive when I'm riding, because I'm constantly looking at, like, I'm watching the front wheel of this red car, pickup truck, and I'm slowing down coming off the throttle as I come up to the intersection. You know, I'm just kind of preparing myself. Wow, this is pretty cool. All right, so we're going to get on the highway. We're going to get on the infamous 95. This guy realizes what lane he's in. I'm going to put this up so I don't have too much noise hitting the helmet. So I'm not trying to be too aggressive on 95. Number one, I don't want to get a ticket. I don't want to get caught for, you know, for speeding. So I'm going to go with a relatively normal flow of traffic, which on 95 is about, usually it's in somewhere in the 80s, 80 some miles an hour. You're going to see people on the far lane passing at a pretty high rate of speed. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It really depends. That, you know, they are catching up to me. But when I do pass people, I like to stay close to their side so that if they look in their mirror, they have a better chance of seeing me. Like there goes, you know, this is normal, okay? See this? That's all normal, and I'm doing 80 miles an hour, okay? So when I do pass cars, if there's a car on my right and I'm passing them, I'm going to hug my lane to the right so that they have a much better chance of seeing me in their side mirror. If I'm passing someone who's on my right and I'm all the way over here, there's a good chance they're not going to see me and they're going to come over. And some of you are going to go, well, if you're too close, and if they go to cross lanes, you know, you have, you know, you don't have as much reaction time because they're going to hit you quicker. Well, that could be true, but there's also a better chance that they're going to see me and they're not going to cross over. That's one of the bigger factors. And the other thing is, if I'm in this lane and they start coming over, I have somewhere to go without crossing over. If I'm over here and someone starts crossing into me and there's a car alongside me, I have nowhere to go. So when I do pass people, and it's the same thing if I'm passing people on the right, which you're not supposed to do, but sometimes it happens because you have people in the really going slow in those lanes that really hold things up. And I'm passing someone who's going to be on my left, I will hug it to the left because as I'm coming up on them, I want them to be able to see me. And the best chance I have for them to see me is going to be if I am practically right alongside their car, closer to the car. Because again, if I'm all the way over here and they're all the way over there, they're not going to see me. Like here, this car, it's a fast car, he might be wanting to change lanes. I'm coming up on the inside. Same thing here. I'm coming up on the inside so that he has a better chance of seeing me. If I'm all the way over here and he does a quick look, he's not going to see me. I don't want that to happen to this pickup truck, so I'm going to come over here. And if he starts coming into this lane, I'll move over to this side, okay? Real simple, because now I own the whole lane and I have somewhere to go, and there's a better chance of them seeing me. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think you get my point. Now, in the meantime, if I know someone's coming up on me, there's nothing. I can't be doing this all day long, trying to make things perfect. It's really when I'm passing that's the case that I do that. I don't like being dead center because that's where all the oil and the crap is, you know, and grease that came off the vehicles and fuel drippings. So when you ride direct in the middle, as you can see, it's a darker spot there. That's a slick spot. I stay in the tire tracks, left or right. See, I'm going to pass this car. I want them to see me, you know, so I'm nice and close so they can see me. If they start coming over, I have somewhere to go. Now, sometimes it's almost impossible to do that because you're going down and you have people on the right and the left. So you have to kind of see, you know, who's where, and that's it. They want to come over, I'm going to move over. And that is it. Hey, so anyway, this is Rembo. Do me a favor, just like and subscribe. You're going to like, if you've stuck around this long, I'm going to tell you that, well, how can I put this? You're really going to like what I'm going to have coming out. I have a video that's going to be coming out tomorrow. later in the day, maybe by night. It's going to require a decent amount of editing. I think it's going to be very insightful. So stay tuned, and the best way for you to know when this video comes out is to not just like and subscribe this video, like this video and subscribe, but also to hit that bell icon. That would be really helpful, because I'm pretty sure everyone's going to be rather engaged in this next video. It's going to be I'm going to guess that this is going to be one of my better videos that's going to be coming out tomorrow. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not done shooting it. I have a lot to do with shooting tomorrow with this video, and we shall see. Anyway, I'm going to get off the highway. This is Rembo. Again, please like, please subscribe. I would appreciate it. And stay safe out there. Stay very safe. And stay off of 95. This is light traffic for 95. Trust me, this is very light traffic for 95. All right, have yourself a great day, folks. Take care, and we'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Adios.